Except to say, Prof, as an education expert who also supports leadership development, what are your key experience and insights you would like to offer to our alumni community? And it's not only our people here, we're going to sing this
Okay, great to be here with the Energizer Bunny. Also great to hear Greg, friend over many, many years. He plays an absolutely crucial role in the school where I currently serve between 6:30 and 1. And then I go to Stellenbosch for my paid job. And then when I get home at 7 at night, my body says to me, you are no longer 27. Okay? Get real. And it's not so much the physical tiredness. I don't get tired easily physically. It's the emotional tiredness of working in schools. And that's why I have huge respect for you, for all of you, who are still able to come at this point in the day and be lively. So, I've been a leader all my life. I've been a leader sort of unwittingly in a school. I took over the captaincy of the soccer team, and I made myself captain because I love soccer. And then in Sunday school and youth, as Greg will tell you, you're sort of a leader. We were co-leaders. And then you find yourself sort of being pushed into leadership positions, and eventually it becomes serious. You become a leader in a university. You become the leader of the university, as in vice chancellor. And then you become a leader in almost everything else. And so you begin to reflect on what does it mean to be a leader. And the past 5 months and 3 weeks and 4 days and 7 hours and 13 minutes at a school in the retreat has taught me, has uprooted almost everything I know about leadership. I work with an incredible principal, one of the best I've ever met in a school context. Our goal is to, first of all, change the academic results of the school, and then secondly, to change the culture of the school. The first is very easy. If you were a matric teacher like I was, quite easy to change the school's results. The bigger problem is changing the culture of a school. And that is incredibly exhausting. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that as well. But I'm just going to give you, because I'm then going to interview somebody that I've been working with, Liesl Jacobs at the back there. She's from Rocklands. I'm from Retreat. If you're from Rocklands, you are severely disadvantaged. If you're from Retreat, you're just going backwards, as the name suggests. But she's an amazing thinker, author, and leader of, I think, the first black woman to head up the psychology department at Rhodes University. And I've been working with her in the Future Professors program. She is now, thank God, a professor. And she wrote an amazing book, which I was happy to read in the very early stages and so on. But before I go to Liesl, let me just say, share with you 3 things by way of encouragement from my own leadership experience. The first thing is, when you do good things as the leader of a school, and I don't just mean the principal, there's different ways to lead. When you do good things will come to you. Happened to Greg, actually. Where is he? He led a school here called Sir Rule, sort of a nondescript school here in Grassy Park, Grassy Park is nondescript. There's no grass in Grassy Park, etc. But he made that a school that won him eventually Principal of the Year. And I remember him getting that award from President Mbeki. So no matter your context, when you do good things will happen to you. If you're just a normal principal trying to tick through the day, nobody will take notice of you. Okay? But when you do good things. So I want to give you an example. Every Tuesday we sit with the matric teachers, and they have to report to me and the principal on 3 questions. How are you doing? What else do you need to be successful with the results? And are you on track to achieve marks? So very narrow, instrumentalist, I agree, but we push them on that, okay? So one of the math lit teachers comes to me and says, Prof, I need Casio calculators of a particular brand, and I need rulers, and I need pencils, and so on and so forth. So that's sort of an odd question to request this time of the year. But nonetheless, on my way to my day job, my paid job, I stopped at Stellenbosch Square, loaded the trolley with all the things she wanted, and went to pay. As I'm about to turn to pay, a guy stops me and he says, "You, Professor Johnson, you know, because of you, I opened up ECD centers in Cluttersville and in his church in Stellenbosch from a talk you gave a number of years ago." I said, "That is fantastic." And then I went to pay. He says, "So why do you have all that stuff there?" I said, "No, I work at a school and the teacher needs all of this stuff and I'm just going to pay for it." He says, "Can I pay for it?" I said, "Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know you. I mean, are there strings that, in your head? You sort of say, I can just take a gift." So he puts his hand in his pocket and he pulls out, I lie you not, a thick wad of notes like this, 200s and 100s. And he says, "I insist." So I took it. You think like a Cape Flats mother, kyk nou hoe werk die Here, So anyway, reluctantly, I have to say, I went to the two tellers and I said to them, "Ring up my bill for all the stuff in the trolley." So they rang it up and it was 2,400 Rand and some extra, small extra. And then I took this man's notes and I gave it to them with my hand on the Bible or the Holy Quran, whichever your book is. Guess how much money was there? 2,400 Rand. And I said to the two tellers, "I'm a blue bull. We don't cry. Maar ek gaan nou huil," And if I have to be honest with you, if I was an atheist that day, about 3-4 weeks ago, that day I would have converted. How did he know how much I needed? They didn't have enough Casio, so it wasn't like I got all the Casio. How did he know? So anyway, we had exchanged cell phone numbers while we were talking, so he called me for something later the day. I said, "Pastor, do you know a miracle just happened?" He said, "What happened?" And I told him that story. You know what he said? "I didn't even know how much I had in my pocket." When you do good things will happen to you. I promise you. I don't care where you are. Rocklands, Retreat, Mfuleni, Grassy Park, it will happen to you. Okay? This is very important to understand. It's a principle that I have seen come, true over and over again. But for that to happen, Mr. DeRocha, you have to make known what you do. So he leads an amazing school called Porterview, I think, primary. Okay? It's an indistinct school. I say, "Alpha Bayre, you don't know, if it's a school or a drug den." No. But they have the most amazing library for kids from lower middle class school. And I called my friend Natalie at this film, and Natalie came and said, why did Natalie want to give books? Why did she want to raise funds through corporates? You know why? Because there was already something happening. There were good things happening in the leadership of reading that she and many others wanted to support. But you have to have a project that people want to fund. So I speak at a lot of schools, as you know. So I spoke at the, I always get confused, help me out here. There's two schools. One is called Grove, and the other one, The Grove. Which one is which, sir? Golden Grove. There's Golden Grove and there's The Grove. Which one is?
Grove is in Claremont on the...
No, Golden Grove is in Rondebosch East.
Grove is in Higher Claremont.
The Grove is in Claremont. You're right. The Grove is in Claremont. So I go there the other day, and I spoke about how privileged parents can leverage their privilege. Because, we often eat on wealthy people, but I don't eat on wealthy people. I sort of say, you've got this wealth. We all know you got it undeservedly, okay? It's not like all of us ever lived in Grassy Park, okay? People who moved here. But I don't tell them all of that. But I do say to them, so you're a wealthy school. Herschel, the astronomer's image is right there at the gate of the school. If you want to play a role in South Africa, give away some of your wealth. I tell them. So I said, my school has 41 teachers. By the time I leave, at the end of this year, I want 41 data projectors. Can you give me one? Just one. Called St. Cyprian's. I said, you've got more pianos there than schools have textbooks here in the South. Give me a grand piano. Next day, the grand piano came. They just told me the 6s and 7s, grade 6 and 7s at the Grove have raised enough money for, what's his name? You mustn't be shy to ask, etc. When you have a good thing going, good things will happen to you. One of my favorite banks, I'm with FNB, I'm about to shift to Capitec. You know why? They put a math lab in Lavendale. That is amazing. And so I love that when your bank says we're part of the education game. I love it when this lovely young lady, where she's sitting, says to me, she almost died last year, but here she is because she wants to make a difference with the resources that you have. But you have to be out there. There you are. You look so much like my mother, but I must stop lying. When you do good things, okay? I'll take today. So every second day at the school I'm at, a kid comes in screaming with pain. And I don't know about you, but when I was at school, was this true for you? When we were at school, there was a dentist that came once a year. They looked at your teeth. That was under apartheid. And you had somebody check your eyes. Do you know that doesn't happen at a lot of schools anymore? So what I do is I go across the road from the school to a dentist, okay? And the dentist extracts the tooth or whatever needs to be done, or puts a denture in. No, what the hell these kids are doing, pulling out their good teeth. What, noem hulle? The passion gap, the passion gap. God help us. So, I take the kid this morning. She was screaming with pain. I bring another girl with her. I never drive in a car alone with a kid, especially with girls. So I said, you come with her and you hold her hand while the doctor. So anyway, should they go in? I said, call me when they're done. So I came back from the school just across the road. And the receptionist says, doctor says you bring too many kids. You can have this one for free. When you do good, and then I go, I'm not making up anything. Then I go from there to the Steenberg Pharmacy because they need two things. What do they need, ma'am? They need pain. Very good. No, the doctor gives them the cotton. They need something for pain once the anesthetic wears off. What else do they need? Ice lolly. Where are you, Lavendale? Apart from the pain tablet, what else do you need? No, the doctor gives him a cotton wool. It's cheap. Antibiotic. Just in case there is, of course, post-extraction infection. So I go to the Steenberg Pharmacy. Naz sees me coming. I ken you van Naz from a bar of soap nie. Naz doen haar hare reg. I know I'm an ugly dude, but now she's preparing now. She sees me. Hello, Professor. Father. How are you, Naz? You must play along, right? No, I'm fine, Professor. How can I help you today? Naz, for this kid, I always take the girl with me. I need antibiotic and so on. Naz disappears. I'm not lying to you. Then she comes back. The pharmacist says, this is for free, sir. We know what you are doing at the school. When you do good things, just take it from me, good things will happen to you. That's a leadership lesson I'll never forget. Number 2, you still have to show up as a leader. This week has been tough for me. Very tough. And keep this between us. But every single day, there is a trauma that a kid experiences in our schools. This is true for Hanover Park. This is true for Retreat. This is true for Lavendale. This is true for Bonteheuwel. And the teachers show up, and I can see this has an effect on them. It has an effect on me. When I hear a girl has been raped or gang raped, trust me, something in me stops. When I hear a boy has just been released from prison, something in me stops. I don't know how you do this, because I know some of these things happen in your schools. And yet, as I said to the grade 12 teachers, I don't care how tough your day was. There's 1,236 kids in the school. You still have to show up. But if you look as if you lost a relative, if your whole face says, I'd rather be somewhere else, if they can smell that you disrespect them, they can smell that you don't want to be there. And South Africans are generally lazy people. Cape Townians are the worst. I have lived out of this province now for 30-something years, working all over the world and, of course, other provinces in South Africa. You guys haven't changed. This is the only province in the country, Cape Town, that makes a distinction between getting up and waking up. It's not the same thing. Julle lyk gevrek. And when you go to these white Afrikaans schools, have you seen other teachers come in? Oh, they come in and they're marching and they're jumping and say, Juffrou, waarom hardloop jy? Nee, meneer Grobler moet nie vir my buite sien nie. Isn't that beautiful? At our schools, they walk like this. Morris, nog 'n dag. Do you know? Let me ask you, how many of you are school leaders? I'm going to tell you something now that really, yesterday it freaked me out. Do you know that when the bell rings, the teachers are still in the staff room? What the hell? What happened to schools that you waited for the kids to come to you? And you stayed behind after the kids left? Yesterday morning was a tough briefing session. I said, I'm fed up. That you don't understand that if you are not there to receive them and teach them within 1 minute of that bell going, you are not showing up. Mr. D, how many teachers were absent today at your school? Huh? What would happen? Where's Kamala Harris? Kamala. Kamala. What would happen in the private sector with these, if that happened there? You'd be out of a job tomorrow morning. But here's the point. If there's one in every grade absent every day, what do the children conclude? If there's one, and I've now studied this thing very closely, if you have, like we had on 2 successive days, 10 teachers absent, on whom does the burden fall? For admin? On those who are there. And then what happens? They show up at Greg Plotman, burnt out. Absolutely burnt out. And I want to say to you, in a way, as they say in my second language, ek preek vir die koor, because you're the good ones. I would like to see those other scoundrels here in your school. And by the way, as I told these lovely teachers at my current school, the reason you come late every day, the reason you're absent every second or third day, is because this is a school for black kids. If this was Westerford, you wouldn't do it because your own children are there. Do I hear an amen? Brother, I didn't. No, am I right or wrong? You would not try that stunt at Westerford. You would not try that stunt at St. Cyprian's. But you try it on kids from Lavendale and Retreat because it's not your kids. How disgraceful. My mother taught me wrong. You treat everybody else's child as if it was your own child. Otherwise, get out of teaching and go and sell insurance. And finally, before I come to my friend Liesel, this is the most difficult thing I have convincing teachers. And I suspect convincing you. The children are still the dependent variable. If you come to me at a school and you say, "Oh, professor, you don't know our type of child," I'm a non-violent person, but then I want to strangle you. You don't know our type of child. What type of child is that? Every child can learn, given the same opportunities. And if you haven't learned that yet, you've not been in education. It took me 20 minutes to calm down grade 9A2. I was teaching them natural science because I didn't have a teacher. The most boring thing to teach is the periodic table. It's really boring. It's the table of elements. Atomic number, atomic mass. It's boring. I hated that. But I took 7 hours to prepare a 50-minute lecture because even though I knew the periodic table back to front, I needed to make it digestible for 15 and 16 years. So I come in, and daar is geraas, and they can't settle down. And then I realized my middle-class theories of management is a load of bull. I realized I can't go into that class and do what you do in a middle-class school. Because in a middle-class school, what do? "Excuse me, boys and girls, would you kindly take your seats?" Are you nuts? They will have you for breakfast. And so I looked at them, and I'm looking at this chaos. And I said, "Would you fuckers take your seat?" They got such a shock, they all sat down. And if you breathe too loudly, you're dead. I'm sorry I did that. You can judge me, you don't have to invite me back. And then I taught them as if their lives depended on it. When the double periodic table was over, a boy got up and said, "Meneer, vir die eerste keer verstaan ek wetenskap." A girl got up and said, "Sir, thank you for taking the time to..." I'm not making this up. Because the kids understand when you're teaching as if they matter and not you. Gangster, you can see a gangster. If you got a tattoo here saying, "I killed my mother," you are not a good man. The guy came to take me out of the room today where we had an astronaut, first African-American woman astronaut to go into space. She was busy. The guy takes me out. I mean, he walks, as if there's something wrong with his vertebral column. Shut. You know what he tells me? He takes me out of this class. He says, "Sir, meneer, ek het gister se les en regtig geniet." The children of the dependent variable, what happens to them depends on what you put into their lives. And every adult has failed them. The father is in Polsbo. I'm giving you real life stories. The mother OD'd. And then you have the audacity not to show up because you don't believe that these children can perform. I've taught in the richest schools in the world, and I've taught in the most dysfunctional schools in the world, like at Oscar. I can tell you now. I've seen Rhodes Scholars, you know what I'm talking about, come out of Oscar. Just by taking the kids serious. You know what the best school is in math and science in this province? If you're feeling depressed, do me a favor, drive to a school in Mfuleni called Manzuma Tombi High School. Your heart will sing with joy. It will sing with joy. The children will only become what we put into